Dan Bidondi here once again with a special report for the Cutting Edge on Now You See TV. That's nystv.org. And we're going to cover headline news. Another shooting took place, well, this time just shots fired and scared the heck out of people in Baton Rouge. Shoppers panic after gunfire breaks out at a Walmart in Baton Rouge. Reported by Infowars.com at Don Salazar. Shoppers at Walmart in Louisiana were anxious when gunfire broke out Tuesday, following a mass shooting at the El Paso Walmart over the weekend. And police apprehended one suspect, and they're still looking for another after verbal altercation at the Baton Rouge Walmart customer service desk descended into an active shooter event. Deputies arrested one suspect, but the other fled off in a light-colored sedan, and one witness described to WAFB.com hearing a man joke to his daughter saying, "You know we can't be too careful. We're in Walmart," to which the daughter laughed in moments before she noticed a man with a gun and the sound of gunfire. And the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff said both suspects involved were armed with pistols. While no Walmart employees were injured, one innocent bystander was shot but was able to transport himself to a nearby hospital. And Baton Rouge Mayor Sharon Broome provided an update on the situation, alerting residents that the incident is still being looked into. A shooting in El Paso, Texas Walmart over the weekend left 22 dead, 12 injured, and the shooting was followed by another in Dayton, Ohio, that left 9 dead. The FBI has warned the public to be aware of copycat attacks in the wake of incidents. So could this be a string of more to come? We'll soon find out. And Paul Joseph Watson from Infowars.com reports that CNN and AMP finally admitted that the Dayton mass shooter was a left-wing extremist. And after 48 hours of prevaricating, the mainstream media has finally acknowledged that the Dayton, Ohio mass shooter was a left-wing extremist. In reports, as previously highlighted, Connor Betts described himself as a socialist, praised Antifa, and expressed support for Elizabeth Warren, among many other indications that he was a far-left extremist. And after NBC reported Ben Collins falsely claimed that Betts was a more neutral with his Twitter post. Despite openly supporting numerous left-wing personalities and news outlets, the truth is finally being admitted. A Twitter account that appears to belong to Dayton mass shooter Connor Betts retweeted some extreme left-wing and anti-police posts, as well as tweets surrounding Antifa or anti-fascist protesters. Reported by CNN. NOQ even reported that Dayton shooter Connor Betts, Antifa, and Satan-loving Democrat shatters the left's narrative. White supremacy is the narrative of the day from the progressives, as the third mass shooting in a week took place in Dayton, Ohio, was allegedly committed by a young white male, Connor Betts. But the airwaves and social media are full of calls condemning Trump supporters, Republicans, conservatives, and Caucasians in general. The reality of Connor Betts' history is being ignored. The left wants us to believe we have a gun problem that is derived from allowing racist young white men to access them. This is a triple threat from the left, allowing them to condemn Caucasians, gun owners, and Trump supporters in one fell sweep. So as you can see at the images here, it's clearly that Connor Betts, from his Twitter and social media accounts, he was definitely into Satanism. It was anti-God, and you can see by the patches and his post that he was pro-Antifa, a complete left. And now the left are calling for death camps for Trump supporters. As Paul Joseph Watson, Infowars.com reports, that death camp for Trump supporters flyers are posted in New York City. And numerous flyers that say death camps for Trump supporters now have been posted on the streets and parking meters in New York. And while the left media and politicians keep blaming gun rights, they ignore the fact that 59 people just last weekend were shot in Chicago and 7 fatally wounded, because Chicago prides itself on strictest gun control in the country, but yet has some of the worst crime and murder rates in the country. So this is why this is heavily suffocated, ignored, and you'll never hear this from the left. As reported here, that from ABC 7 Chicago, that 59 shots, 7 fatally in Chicago over the weekend. And shootings across the city of Chicago this past weekend have left 7 people dead and another 52 people wounded. In Chicago, shootings across the city of Chicago this past weekend have left 7 people dead and another 52 wounded. One of the most recent shootings occurred in the city's Inglewood neighborhood. And as you can see throughout the article, there's several people that got shot, and just the untold violence that the mainstream media continues to ignore in one of the biggest gun control cities in the country. So, folks, this happens every day. Chicago, on a weekly basis, makes most mass shootings look like a walk in the park. And like always, every time there's a mass shooting, the left love nothing more than to cash in by violating your rights and taking your rights, as Governor Cuomo in New York approves of stricter gun storage law. With children in their homes have 60 days to comply with the stricter new storage requirement or face the potential of a misdemeanor charge. In order to comply with the requirement, which was signed into law Tuesday by Governor Cuomo, New Yorkers living with children under the age of 16 have to have a lock-in device for their firearm or store it in a lock-in container. A conviction for violating the new requirement could result in a maximum penalty of up to a year in jail and a $1,000 fine. Guns must also be secured when a child is visiting the home, or the gun owner could face a $250 fine. But the thing is, how is the state to know? So is this automatically going to say, hey, this gives the state authority to come into your home to check to make sure your firearms are secured? So this is a direct violation of the Fourth Amendment. Now, will all of us gun owners agree? Yes, you should keep your guns away from children, locked up in a safety area, but this gives the government or the state the back door to come to your home to say, hey, we're here to make sure your guns are secured. So a violation not only your Second Amendment, but also your Fourth Amendment as well. Okay, that was your headline news. And before we go, I just want to talk about what President Trump basically saying, hey, we need to look at this gun situation. So is President Trump going to fold and push gun control? We'll soon find out. But the response that President Trump should have made versus like we need to come together and say, hey, we need to respond to this, and referring to in a sort of way, say, hey, we need to push some gun control. But what he should have responded to right away, instantly he should have said, we need to push more gun rights, because as you can see, states with less gun control have the lowest crime rates in the country. And people criticize, well, look at Texas. They got some of the most lenient gun laws in the country, and look what happened. Well, of course, look what happened in El Paso, because that Walmart was the only Walmart that was a gun-free zone. Not a coincidence. That's why these maniacs, these cowards, pick soft targets where they know most likely they're not going to be shot at back. You know what I mean? So they know people ain't going to defend themselves. So anyway, President Trump should have came out to say, listen, now more than ever, we need to exercise our Second Amendment. Now more than ever, a law-abiding citizen should be carrying. That's what should be done. And what really should be done is he should push nationwide constitutional carry. Bring it back the way it used to be, when every citizen had a right and the means to protect themselves. That's what I would have done if I was president. But hey, we're going to see what happens and what unfolds within the next week or so. Will he cave in to the left, or will he stand for our Second Amendment? So we will find out soon. And this is Dan Bidondi reporting for The Cutting Edge on Now You See TV. That's nystv.org. God bless and shalom.